A black market mercenary who has nothing to lose is hired to rescue the kidnapped son of an imprisoned international crime lord. But in the murky underworld of weapons dealers and drug traffickers, an already deadly mission approaches the impossible. Extraction is a Netflix action movie that came out a couple weeks ago and takes place primarily in India. The film is produced by the Russo brothers of MCU fame, and Chris Hemsworth, aka Thor, plays the lead role. While Hemsworth also served as a producer, Extraction is the directorial debut of Sam Hargrave, who up to this point had collaborated with the Russo brothers as a stunt coordinator on many of their films. And I gotta say, this is a solid debut for Hargrave. I really didn't know anything about this movie before watching it, other than that it was an action flick starring Thor, basically. I didn't even know the Russo brothers were involved at all until after the credits. Hargrave just directs this film with such poise and confidence. Like I said, I had no idea Extraction was his first film, but I could sense his confidence and his ability to construct intricate and exciting action sequences while I was watching it. Seriously, like when I was watching this movie, I thought, now this is a director who knows what they're doing. You can tell this movie's directed by a stunt coordinator. It shows in the best way possible. Easily the best part of this movie is the action sequences, and in particular, there is one of the most technically impressive and exciting oneers I've ever seen in any movie. I'm not exaggerating, it is that good. Basically, there's an extended action sequence that takes place right at the end of the first act. I think it's around 11 or so minutes, and it's amazing. I mean, you can tell that they stitched together a few different shots to make it look like one continuous take, but it's pretty seamless. Not gonna lie, it might be the best oneer I've seen since Alfonso Cuarón's Gravity in 2013. And no offense to my man Roger Deakins for his work on 1917, but this sequence is that good. Like, I wouldn't blame you if you just watched this movie for that sequence alone. David Harbour, if you're a fan of him, plays a small but enjoyable role in the movie. I appreciated how Harbour's character brought a little bit of depth and complexity to a film that doesn't really, well, have any. I mean, they try to give Chris Hemsworth like a backstory, but it's pretty cliche, and honestly, I think that's my biggest critique of this movie. Just a lack of depth at all. And where you really see this is in the film's aimless violence. So what do I mean by that? You know, a movie has aimless violence when the good guy or the bad guy is just mowing down people on the screen, left and right, and you have no idea who any of those characters are. You don't have any personal connection with them. All you know is that the good guy or the bad guy is just taking them all out, really. In other words, their deaths are so numerous that when another faceless character dies, it doesn't have any effect on you as the viewer, nor on the characters in the movie. Basically, aimless violence downplays the weight of taking another person's life. Now, the implementation of aimless violence in movies by itself, particularly in action movies where you would expect some aimless violence, at least I do, that in of itself doesn't really bother me. At least not when it's way overdone. And this movie's probably right on the edge of that line for me, but it doesn't go over it. My main issue is this movie's primary message is to condemn aimless violence. The characters acknowledge how horrific aimless violence is, and then they proceed to be aimlessly violent still. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. There's actually even a scene in the film where a boy is talking to Chris Hemsworth's character about all the people his father has killed and how they all had families and how this aimless violence was so terrible. And having seemed to be moved by this conversation with this kid, Hemsworth goes on to kill a bunch of people in order to save this boy's life. It just seems a little counterintuitive and lacking a little bit of self-awareness to me. And I think that's where this movie kind of fell flat with critics. The script just seems to contradict itself, and it doesn't really work. The way I see it, Extraction is a movie with a number of great action sequences. If that's all you want from a movie, you're gonna enjoy this movie. If you're looking for something more, you might feel a little empty after this movie. For better or worse, that's what this movie is. Another thing I was thinking about while watching this movie is that Sam Hargrave would have been an excellent choice for the Uncharted film adaptation, if not a sequel. There were quite a few moments where the movie felt like an R-rated Uncharted with a melancholy mercenary rather than like a wisecracking adventurer. Overall, if you like movies like John Wick, Mission Impossible, the Bourne films, Tom Clancy adaptations, those kinds of movies, I think this is a great choice for you. Plus, I mean, it's on Netflix, so you probably already have access to it. With that being said, if you don't like those movies I just listed, you're not gonna like this movie either. Honestly, it's really that simple. Also, the name of Chris Hemsworth's character is Tyler Rake. What? So yeah, we have, Jack Ryan, Ethan Hunt, John Wick, and oh yeah, Tyler Rake. Anyway, I'm gonna give Extraction an 8 out of 10. That's probably way too high, but hey, I actually enjoyed the heck out of this movie, and even though it was lacking heavily in terms of depth and nuanced writing and important storytelling things, it's really technically impressive, and the filmmaker side of me appreciates that greatly. I really enjoyed watching this movie, so I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. So there you have it. I'm Jimmy Youthy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hey guys, if you'd like to hear my friend Holden and I have a discussion about this film, including spoilers, check out our podcast linked in the description below. We also talk about movie news and video games every week, so listen to it. It's pretty good. And we reviewed Tiger King on it last week, so there's that too.